Testing, testing, 1 2 1 2. And finally, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to UFRL Formula 1. Tonight we're in Austria. Hopefully we're going to see a decent qualifying session, followed by a sprint race, and then followed by the main race. Once again, apologies for the delay in getting the comms started. It was a bit of a mixture of myself having a new mobile phone, so I didn't have any of the passwords available to me, as well as the my microphone also playing up as well. But hopefully now all the issues are sorted. Of course, as we go along, if you have any questions or anything you'd like to ask me, then by all means, please fire away. So just running on board then with Pops Kong at the moment, seemingly going down the wrong pit entrance there, unsurprisingly. Let's go down to UFRL Beast in the AlphaTauri. In fact, let's get all the bits and bobs all sorted. I do apologise, it's been a while since I've done this, but UFRL Beast goes fastest with a 105.480. We're going to be looking for sort of maybe a 104 to perhaps get pole position. I think drivers like Sainsy and Mr. Piggy are certainly capable of doing that. I think we'll also see Speedy Bullet in with a shout as well. So just looking down the grid, looks as if we've got, in terms of teammates, two Alpine drivers, Sainsy and Speedy Bullet, two Aston Martins of Late Bloomer and 50 Gent. Of course, we are riding on board at the moment with the Aston Martin of Late Bloomer. Be interesting to see how he does in the final part of the lap. Going down the long straight, I think he's going to get a 105.678 and puts him currently in provisional P2. Jar Jar being now just coming in to the pits in the Alfa Romeo. I think at the moment it's actually only UFRL Beast who is out on track. I don't think he's going to go for another lap here. I think no, he's coming in. Sorry, I was on Late Bloomer then. Apologies, my eyes are playing tricks on me there. The stream does seem a little bit laggy, so once again, please do keep me informed, and we'll see if we can do anything about that on the way round if need be. It does seem a little bit laggy. In fact, mine's sort of frozen. Hopefully that isn't the case for the rest of you. Let's go down to Mr. Piggy then, who has just started his flying lap for the Red Bull. I think Sainsy's also pretty close to starting his flying lap as well. But we'll stick with Mr. Piggy in the Red Bull for the time being. I think it's Mr. Piggy and Sainsy who lead the way at the top of the tree in the championship. Not too many more races left. I think it's 25, isn't it? I think we're doing this season. Pretty sure it is. Once again, do correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe it is 25 races this season, and this is round 17. I believe I did write it out earlier, so I should remember. The House of Godzilla getting out of the way there for Mr. Piggy, as that Red Bull is absolutely flying at the moment. using a lot of ERS, and wisely so, as he's just about to enter the final part of the track. It's a very short circuit, this one, and he crosses the line. A 105.461 goes on to provisional pole position for the time being. I Am Batman just coming back around. He was slightly quicker through Sector 2. Can he have a much faster Sector 3 here to put himself in contention for pole position? No, but he does remain in P4. Sainsy has just started his flying lap. Let's see how far along 50 Gent is. I think 50 Gent's had an error somewhere along the lines. He's 3 seconds down his previous best. I'm guessing he's had some sort of error along the lines. Let's go back then to the Alpine of Sainsy 93. And we'll stick with him for the time being. I think he'll be reasonably confident of potentially getting another win. He has had a really strong season, certainly a contender to be moved up to Tier 2 for next season. As much as he'll hate me saying that, because he's really enjoying himself here in Tier 3. As I always say, Tier 3 is my favourite tier to watch. I actually think it does have the cleanest of the drivers in the UFRL family. And here then goes Sainsy, crosses the line. It's a 105.3. As I said, I do believe he has every chance of getting pole position today, and he is currently sitting in provisional P1. We have just over 8.5 minutes left to go in the proceedings today. Let's then go down to PRV widget then. Don't really have a lot of ERS left to use. I think he may have already have done his flying lap. Might not have done though. He's try and push another one out of it. But if I was him, I think I would go into the pits and go again. Shazam, his teammate, is moving out the way though, as is the house of Godzilla at the moment. So as things stand, Pop's going in 12th, 50 Gent in 11th, Godzilla 10th, Jar Jar being in 9th, PRV Widget 8th, I Am Batman 7th, Shazam 6th, Late Bloomer 5th, Speedy Bullet 4th, UFRL Beast 3rd, Mr. Piggy 2nd, and of course, I believe he's the current championship leader. I will double check that. Sainsy 93 is currently in P1. I'm just going to check that, the Tier 3 standings. Yeah, it looks as if they're pretty much up to date as things stand. So yeah, Sainsy 93 leading the way in the championship. The PRV Widget in the meantime though does go P6. Just about had enough ERS to push it to the very end. So Sainsy 93 in P1, and he has a good points total of 208. And he is then closely followed by 50 Gent, who's on 199 points, and of course does have 3 wins this season, as well as winning in Brazil last time out. Jardine in P3 for the Red Bull team with 195, so it is very close between those top 3 drivers. Let's go down to Jar Jar Bing then, who's just about to finish his flying lap here. Can he improve on P9, the Alfa Romeo? Let's see, he does indeed. It's a good lap time from him. Moves himself up 3 positions into P6. I think he'll be quite pleased with that. Godzilla, one of the only other drivers out on track at the moment. Let's see if he can improve on his current provisional P10 standing. No glue this evening then racing, which is a shame. He was P4, but I'm pretty sure he will probably drop down the leaderboard now with Shazam and Late Bloomer Racing. Let's see how close they are to him. Perhaps they're not close enough to maybe overtake him. They might have to get a win here if they're going to jump up a spot. I think Glue's 4th position is fairly secure at this point, but it certainly does put a big dent in his title hopes. He was just 21 points behind Sainsy, but with him not racing this evening, it's not ideal at all for him. So I think, yeah, it looks as if it's just Jar Jar and Godzilla out on track at the moment. The UFRL Beast is coming back out on track. He has every opportunity to take pole position today in that Alpha Tauri. Of course, you must remember this is pole position for the sprint race, so we're going to have a sprint race followed by a main race as well. I believe it's 12 laps for the sprint and 36 for the race itself. And it looks as if, I'm just reading here, Beast has confirmed that it might be raining during the actual race. Certainly make things interesting. And thanks for joining this evening, Shen Glue. And shame you're not out there racing this evening. It would have been a good chance for you to have caught up the other three in the proceedings. But, there are still plenty of races for that still to happen. Let's go then to Late Bloomer, who has just started his flying lap then. Let's see what the Aston Martin can do. Let's see if he can put any pressure on Shazam and Glue in front of him in the title proceedings. As the Aston Martin successfully navigates his way through Sector 1. Let's see if he's any quicker at the moment. Got an AlphaTauri in front of him. That would be UFRL Beast out in front of him. Oh, does run quite wide there, Late Bloom. I think that will affect his lap. But he's pulled out of it. I think wisely so. He'd be with any chance of improving it with that turn in. Let's go then down to UFRL Beast, who I said has every opportunity of taking pole position here today. It's very, very close between the drivers. The top three drivers, should I say, not all the drivers. You can tell it's been a while since I've been on the mic. Beast a little bit sloppy there through Sector 2. I Am Batman, though, in the meantime, does go fastest with a 105.240. I must admit, I didn't even think he would be up there, in all honesty. It looks as if Beast is struggling a little bit there with his gear changes. Perhaps he was just trying to recover a little bit more ERS. Let's go down to Sainsy, who believe is doing another outlap. I'm guessing trying to burn off a little bit of excess fuel. That may have been Beast's thoughts as well. At the moment he is in provisional P4. Let's go down to Late Bloomer, who is slightly faster through Sector 1. Let's see if he can have a better Sector 2 this time. This is where he fluffed it last time. It does look as if he's had a much, much better Sector 2. We'll stick them with Late Bloomer, who may have every chance here of going into provisional P1. Round the final echelons of Sector 3, and Late Bloomer crosses the line in P3. It's a 105.405. Actually thought he was going to do a little bit better than that. Sainsy just about to start his flying lap, so we will leave him for the time being. Let's drop down to UFRL Beast, and 50 gent piece of a 5-place grid penalty. Illegal blocking. He won't be happy with that at all. He's currently P2 in the championship, just behind Sainsy 93. And UFRL Beast crosses the line and goes into P3. 50 gents, looks as if he's picked up another 5-place grid penalty as well. I'm guessing maybe he was just getting out the way. Again, a little bit silly on those things. At the moment, Sainsy is quicker than previously. We will stick with the Alpine driver for the time being. Don't think he's quite fast enough through Sector 1. Oh, and there is a spin from Sainsy 93. He will not be claiming pole position today. It's quite a disastrous spin there from Sainsy. I can't see. We've got a minute left, so he should be able to get round and potentially do another lap, but it all depends on fuel load. We'll have to see. Let's go down to Speedy Bullet now, the other Alpine driver. It's a strong team for the Alpine, Speedy Bullet and Sainsy. At the moment, Speedy Bullet is in 6th place. I've raced with Speedy Bullet quite a few times now, and has always been pretty consistent. We'll stick with the American for the time being. I wonder what time is it where you are, Speedy? Are you 5 hours behind? Are you 6 hours behind? I know it can be different all over the states. We'll stick then. So Speedy Bullet crosses the line and remains in P6. Sainz does have enough fuel from the looks of things to do another lap. He's got to try and make this one count, that's for sure. Let's go down to Piggy then. Piggy has just about made it through, and he'll be able to do another flying lap. Beast diving into the pits. Jar Jar Bing is slower, unfortunately. Shazam is quicker, but I don't think it's going to do too much. As things stand, if anything, he might just go ahead of his teammate here. PRV Widget, let's have a look. It's a 105.730, does go ahead of his teammate. We'll go down to Sainty93, who comes into the pits. He doesn't look overly happy at all with how the qualifying's gone for him. A little bit of a setup issue there. Car looked a little bit unstable. Something the Alpine team will certainly have to look into. They're going to increase their lead in the title championship today. Mr. Piggy round the final chicane. Round the final corner, not chicane. Mr. Piggy then crosses the line and does take pole position. It's a Red Bull 1-2. Mr. Piggy in first place. I Am Batman taking a fantastic second place. Sainsy in third. A Beast at the moment in fourth, but we are still waiting for Speedy to come round. Let's see what he can... Oh, yeah, no, it definitely will not be Speedy. Yeah, that is the end of qualifying. Well done to everyone. And well done in particular to the two Red Bulls, Mr. Piggy and I Am Batman. And of course, Sainty93 in that Alpine. So I appreciate we only have the 12 drivers out on track, but it is good to see that we have two Aston Martins, two Ferraris, two Alpines, and two Red Bulls, and two AlphaTauris out on track. It's good to see in terms of the constructors' standings. And of course, we will have a short break. So if, of course, you are racing tonight and listening to the stream, which I hope you all are, please do not ready up early. We don't want any restart scenarios. It can be a real pain for the poems to sort out. And of course, as we go along tonight, if you are interested in the latest football scores, it's Champions League and Championship this evening, as well as the other EFL ties in League 1 and League 2. I'll do my best to keep you all updated on those scores as well. And looking back on the Discord chat, it's certainly not raining in the sprint, so I presume that it is going to be the main race that people are talking about. And that will certainly make things very, very interesting. I actually think it's a shame it's not raining during the sprint and dry throughout the race, the main race. That would have made things really, really interesting. But never mind. So whilst we're waiting then, I will quickly run you through the scores. So in the Champions League, it is, of course, Manchester City, and they take on FC Copenhagen. And it is Manchester City 2, FC Copenhagen 0. 2 goals scored by Manchester City in the opening 10 minutes. Manuel Akanji on the 5th minute and Julian Alvarez on the 9th minute. And for those interested, Erling Haaland does start today, even with the potential threat of injury, given that they will be playing Liverpool this weekend. So at the moment, Manchester City lead on aggregate by 5-1. And in the other Champions League tie, it is Real Madrid versus RB Leipzig. And at the moment, it is still 0-0. Real Madrid lead 1-0 on aggregate. Europa League scores: Sporting Lisbon drew 1-1 with Atalanta. I believe there's still the second leg of that one to go. And then on to the Championship. It is Cardiff 1, Huddersfield 0, Middlesbrough 1, Norwich City 1, Southampton Preston postponed due to that large fire close to the St Mary's Stadium, Watford 0, Swansea City 1, QPR 1, West Brom 0, and that is a massive, massive scoreline. If QPR can keep hold of that, they've been on fantastic form recently. If they win today, they will go as high as 16th. Real impressive run of form for them under their new manager. And I would say his name, but I cannot pronounce it for the love of God. I thought there were League 1 and League 2 ties tonight, but that is not the case. Evening, Viva. Hope you're keeping well. Had to restart twice yesterday. Blimey. There's nothing worse than having to restart for somebody just pushing that button a little bit too early. Let's hope, for goodness sake, that F124 have realised that the button should only be pushed by the host of the race to start the proceedings, because it really does have an effect on people. Or if they just had a 5-minute timeline at the beginning, that the race will not be started for 5 minutes, which is absolutely plenty of time to get your fuel load secured. If you want to adjust your front wing, you can. That's the best way of doing it, really. So it seems to have been a bit of an issue with EA yesterday then, as confirmed by PRV Widget. Thank you very much for joining us this evening, and I wish you and your Ferrari team all the very best for tonight's race. Then Widget disconnected just before third restart. Oh my goodness me, that is awful. And we're just about to get the proceedings underway here for the sprint race, and the two Red Bulls will lead us out of the way. Let's have a look. Let's drop down to Sainsy for the start then. Let's see what he can do, and we'll just quickly try and get everyone into the bit. There we go. And surprisingly, UFRL Beast is starting on hard tyres. That is absolutely crazy in my opinion, but whether or not he's trying to save a set of softs, and Sainsy looking to defend from late bloomer and just about manages to do that. The moment Mr. Piggy's already pulled out a gap on his Red Bull teammate over a second, but I tell you what, I think I Am Batman does seem to have a little bit more in the way of straight line speed. Let's go down to Speedy Bullet then. And, he has managed to get himself past UFRL Beast, who, as I said, is surprisingly on a set of hard tyres. And Viva saying Red Bull need to slow down because AlphaTauri are trying to catch up. Well, you've got two AlphaTauri drivers tonight. Unfortunately, one of them is Popscon, so points may be few and far between on that side of things. So Sainsy now just over a second behind already. Oh, sorry, just under a second behind. Just seemingly have a little bit more in the way of straight line speed. Speedy Bullet is absolutely flying at the moment. We do have yellow flags. It is Widget who is off track in Sector 1. Speedy Bullet now right behind the Aston Martin of Late Bloomer. Late Bloomer right behind the Alpine of Sainsy. But the two Red Bulls at the moment, certainly Mr. Piggy, is definitely pulling away from the rest of the pack. Hopefully PRV Widget can catch up fairly quickly. Right on board then. Let's go to Jar Jar Bing, who's all over the back of the UFRL Beast. Again, surprisingly, going on those hard tyres. I don't think you quite need them for a sprint race, but perhaps he knows something that we don't. But we will see as the sprint race goes on. Mr. Piggy setting the fastest lap of the race so far, then with a 107.351. It's actually a pretty fast lap time. DRS has been enabled, but at the moment it's really only... So Sainsy is within DRS range of I Am Batman and could look to get him down the next long straight, but he has to make sure he brakes early and gets a decent enough exit out here, which I think he may well have done. I Am Batman, I'm sure, will throw on that ERS to defend the position and wisely moves his car to the middle of the track. Sainsy looking to make the move here, trying to go down the inside, and I Am Batman defending very, very well indeed. His job will be to defend for his teammate as well as himself. He'll obviously want to take that P2 for the Red Bull team. At the moment, I don't see him catching Mr. Piggy. 50 Gent going round Jar Jar Bing. 50 Gent does need to work his way up the grid. Zainsy, he's got to be patient here. It's one thing he says that he lacks a little bit of is patience. He has got to be patient in his approach here to getting past the infamous I Am Batman. Viva just saying, I made the hard tyre error. Qatar game removes a set of mediums after the sprint, sadly, so Beast will lose one medium and effectively lose this hard too. Wow. Goodness me. We have yellow flags out in Sector 1. Not overly sure what's happening there, but Late Bloomer diving down the inside of Sainsy there. Did look like a bit of a potential dive there by Late Bloomer, but nonetheless, he has gained the position from Sainsy 93 and will now potentially look to pursue I Am Batman. Batman is keeping pace though now with Mr. Piggy. The gap is no further than 1.5 seconds, and Popscong has retired from the session. He is out of the Grand Prix, and it is a full safety car. So hopefully for Viva just saying Sainsy moved under braking, I think maybe, quite possibly. So it is a full safety car. It's a drive-through penalty as well for Jar Jar Bing. I think it might be the same for Godzilla as well, perhaps. Let's have a look. Remember, you cannot serve your penalties under the safety car. It is, so it's 2 drive-through penalties for both Godzilla and Jar Jar Bing, the only representatives from their team today. And Viva saying, Beast, go to mediums. But he has decided to stay out on track. Oh, that's a real shame, because he looked really quick during qualifying. So I think this decision to go onto these hard compound tyres is really going to cost him. I'm guessing Popscong perhaps not overly happy with his setup today. I know he does usually tend to copy me, but perhaps I don't know if I had a setup for Austria, so hopefully he managed to find something anyhow. But he has seemingly been struggling today, as everyone just about just starts to recharge their ERS battery. I suppose there is one plus point then for the 50 Gent. Well, 50 Gent has decided to come in and pit for a set of softs. You know, I don't think that's a bad move, actually. I really don't. We're going to have about 5 laps or so, and he is going to have some real good pace on those softs. Jar Jar Bing has done the same, but of course he's got to go in again, so it's kind of a bit of a waste really of his soft compound tyre. Perhaps he thought that he could serve his drive-through penalty under the safety car. Unfortunately, that is not the case. Viva saying, all in the top 6 have good pace. Those softs will be superior even at the end of this sprint. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Viva. I wouldn't be surprised to see 50 Gent rise up quite a few positions here. Appreciate he didn't look overly comfortable through the qualifying session, but he seems to have made the right call, I think, to go under those softs. I expect to see the safety car back in at the end of this lap now that the rest of the grid has caught back up. Of course, we are now down to just the 11 drivers following Popscong DNF. He won't be happy with that at all. Thankfully for him, though, he has managed to recently improve his internet connection, and Race Control have just confirmed that the safety car will be back in at the end of this lap. So we'll go up to Mr. Piggy for the time being then, who is leading the way in this sprint race here in Austria. Iron Batman was keeping pace with him eventually. It'll be interesting to see if he backs up the rest of the grid to allow Mr. Piggy to escape to pick up maximum points, or if he'll stick right behind his teammate and hope in 2 or 3 laps time then he'll have the DRS available to him as well. One person that will be happy with this safety car is both the Alpine drivers of Sainzy and Speedy Bullet. But I tell you what, Late Bloomer's had a really good start to the race as well. And we're back underway here then. And Godzilla is now pitting. I would imagine Jar Jar may follow him in. No, Jar Jar's going to stay out. Let's go then down to Sainzy. Runs very, very wide there. And Jar Jar picking up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Of course, no DRS available to any of the drivers just yet. We're going to have another couple of laps before that is the case. So the top 5 all on the medium compound tyre. I'll tell you what, I think 50 Gent is still struggling a little bit here. Jar Jar Bing working his way through the field, but of course he does have a drive-through penalty. I'm not actually sure if Godzilla's penalty wasn't actually removed there. Guessing he had to wait one more lap perhaps. So let's stick then with Speedy Bullet, just 3 tenths behind his teammate Sainzy, is actually starting to fall back from the rest of the front pack. I wonder if he'll yield the position here to his teammate Speedy Bullet, who does look a little bit quicker as things stand. Late Bloomer is doing an incredibly good job at the moment in P3. He's just under half a second behind Iron Batman, and Iron Batman is also very close to his teammate Mr. Piggy. Are we going to see team orders at the Red Bull team? I'll tell you what, Mr. Piggy has every opportunity. Iron Batman has every opportunity of potentially going on and winning this sprint race. But he'd have to get past his teammate first, whether or not he's going to take the risk. I'm sure Mr. Piggy will defend to make sure that he gets that sprint race win. He's just hoping and praying he stays within that mark of Late Bloomer, running very, very wide again. Just wonder if he's having a little bit of a setup issue here. Doesn't seem to have the grip that he would usually have. Speedy Bullet is looking quicker than Sainzy. I do wonder if the Alpine team orders will come into play soon here. Speedy Bullet, yeah, I think Sainzy wisely. Oh, but he has unfortunately dropped a couple more places. With that in said, oh no, he actually manages to keep it off of Beast. I tell you what, I think Sainzy's setup seems to be incredibly fast down the straight. A little bit slow throughout the corners. Seems to be his issue here. It did look as if in qualifying the back end was coming out a little bit too much. I think it is predominantly a setup issue. So these Red Bulls are doing a perfect game at the moment. I am Batman not getting overly close to Mr. Piggy to potentially look to make the overtaking manoeuvre. But he's certainly managing to keep Late Bloomer at bay, especially with the DRS and tow of his Red Bull teammate in front of him. Let's go down to Shazam, battling hard here with Sainzy 93. Sainzy, as I said, does seem to be struggling out there for grip. Whether or not it's got an issue with the tyres, or it is just, I'm pretty sure it would just be a setup issue here. He's definitely not having his best race so far. Started in P2 and is now down to P5. Let's go back up to Late Blue, and then DRS available to him alongside full battery power. It gets very, very close. He's got to get a better exit here than the Red Bull, but I don't think he seems to. The Red Bull again moving on to that defensive line, and there just is no wriggle room easy for me to say, available for him to catch the Red Bull. The Red Bull just defending so well. It's been an absolutely fabulous drive from the two Red Bulls out in front. It looks like a real seasoned performance between the pair of them. And Viva saying expected Piggy to pull away again, to be honest, but it doesn't seem to be the case. And Late Bloomer now certainly making the most of a slight error from Iron Batman, and Late Bloomer moves himself up into P2, and he's just outside though that DRS range of Mr. Piggy, so he's going to have to put his foot down if he's going to keep Iron Batman behind. Otherwise we could see another straight swap here, another DRS zone here. Mr. Piggy. Oh, Iron Batman making the move. He's got the inside line. Has he got the corner? Oh, it's a collision between Iron Batman and Late Bloomer. A little bit of experience there coming into play. Whether or not Late Bloomer should have left him a little bit more room, I'm not overly sure. I think there was probably just about enough room. We'll see. I think there was maybe just about enough. Just. Speedy Bullet in the meantime is now very, very close to Iron Batman as he looks to potentially secure a podium here for the Alpine. He's got the inside line. Again, it's good defending from Iron Batman, who seems to be a bit of a seasoned veteran at this at the moment. And Speedy Bullet though, oh no, picking up a 3-second time penalty. It's a bit harsh on the stewards there, but it is the case nonetheless. Sainsy now right behind Speedy Bullet, but as is Shazam. We've got just the 1 lap to go here. Iron Batman's still pretty close to Late Bloomer. Late Bloomer trying to defend again here, squeezing him off track. Oh, and it is another touch here. Oh no. Oh, why do these things always happen on the very last lap? And I tell you what, it's going to work wonders for Sainsy. How on earth is he going to take second place? He's not had his best sprint race at all. Oh dear. Oh dear, dear, dear me. And a collision between Late Bloomer and Iron Batman caused a little bit of chaos throughout the rest of the field. But it does look as if so. Mr. Piggy's definitely going to pick up the sprint race win. We're right on board with him then as he crosses the line. It's been a pretty faultless performance from Mr. Piggy, known as Jardine in the Discord chat. And he takes P1 in the sprint race. Speedy Bullet brings home the car in P2. And then unfortunately, due to his 3-second time penalty, is demoted all the way down to 6th. That is a real killer blow for him. Sainsy taking P2, Shazam P3, Late Bloomer P4, Beast P5, Speedy Bullet P6, Iron Batman P7, 50 Gent P8, PRV Widget 9th, Jar Jar Bing in 10th, and Godzilla taking P11, and it's a DNF for Pops Kong. Let's hope he can have a much better full race. But the weather certainly looks as if it's getting a little bit more cloudy out on that track, so it'll be interesting to see if we do have rain throughout the main race. And surprise, I think perhaps we're waiting for Godzilla to cross the line here. I think we are. We're just waiting for Godzilla. Oh, yeah, Viva just confirmed Godzilla just in Sector 3 now, and just about to cross the line. I think there's certainly some bits and pieces in there for the stewards to look at. With the incident between Late Bloomer and Iron Batman. It'll be interesting to see what they make of that later on. I think there's a few people who are vying either way at the moment. But that is your final standing order for the sprint race here in Austria. So I'll quickly run through it one more time. It's Mr. Piggy taking P1, Sainsy in P2, Shazam P3, Late Bloomer P4, Beast P5, Speedy Bullet P6, Iron Batman P7, 50 Gent P8, PRV Widget P9, Jar Jar Bing P10, Godzilla P11, and Pops Kong P12, following a DNF. And of course we will have another short break, so please once again, it'd be much appreciated if you do not ready up early. Thank you very much. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see on the screen, on the stream, it is currently raining in Austria. And I believe many of the drivers are unable to switch onto intermediate tyres. And it certainly looks as if it's definitely going to be intermediate weather out there. But whether or not people are just going to struggle around for the first few laps and then have to dive into the inters, we'll have to wait and see. And I believe we'll get underway fairly shortly. And whilst we're waiting for the race to begin, we'll see if I can get up the latest scorelines from the Champions League and the Championship. Although it doesn't seem to be loading at the moment for me. In fact, it's telling me there are no football matches on today. That's certainly not the case. So please do bear with. And I can inform you that Popscon does have a DRS issue. He was unable to open his DRS throughout the sprint race. Hopefully that'll, in fact, from the looks of things, that won't actually have any effect, as there is no DRS available to any of the drivers in wet conditions. Although the game doesn't seem to have picked up that it is wet conditions, bearing in mind that it's trying to make everyone start on medium compound tyres, dry tyres should I say. So I'll quickly go through the Championship scoreline. So it's Cardiff City 1, Huddersfield Town 0, Middlesbrough 2, Norwich City 1, Southampton Preston of course postponed due to that fire, Watford 0, Swansea City 1, QPR 1, West Brom 2. There's a big score line change in that one. And it looks as if we are about to get things underway. Of course, there is no formation lap due to many glitches from the game. And we are live and underway in the main Grand Prix. Let's go down to Shazam then, who is on hard compound tyres. It'll be interesting to see how everyone's going to get on here. And, Beast has retired. Oh my word. Shazam is out, Beast is out, full safety car. The conditions were too wet. I think the conditions were far too wet for these drivers. Absolute madness. Sainty dropping down to P9 already. I'm not sure, I think he may well have been involved in that one. Losing his front wing. A late bloomer in P10. I do wonder if we may see a restart here. Let's have a look. I'll keep one eye on the Discord, see what happens here. Don't think that's going to be the case. Just having a look at the Discord. I think we're still going here. So yeah, I think the cars seem to be really struggling out there. Whether or not we're going to see some people dive in for the intermediates here. There's no real big puddles out on track though. I suppose there is that side of things. Mr. Piggy still leading the way. Godzilla is going into the pits. It'll be interesting to see what he comes out on. Whether or not it was... can't seem to change anything. Oh, I've lost all my buttons. There we go. They're back again. It'll be interesting to see what tyre he comes out on. We'll go down to him. He is switching onto the intermediates. I think that is the right decision. This thing stand, especially following that start of the race. Sainsy coming in and coming out on mediums after starting on hards. I'm guessing he's had a front wing change here. Yeah, he has. He's had a front wing change. So it's Godzilla, the only driver, making that play to go on to the mediums. Everyone else seems reasonably happy out on track at the moment. So as things stand, it is the two Red Bulls that once again leading the way. Closely followed by Speedy Bullet and a big jump up the grid by Jar Jar Bing. Let's see how many positions he's made up here. Work out how to do it. There we go. So I'm Batman's jumped up 5 positions after 1 lap. Speedy Bullet up 3, Jar Jar Bing up 5, Widget up 3, 50 Gent up 6, Pops Kong up 4, Late Bloomer down 4, Godzilla up 1 and Sainsy down 8. But that was obviously due to the collision, I believe, which involved Shazam and Beast. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I believe it did. So we're just now waiting for Sainsy to catch up the rest of the grid. So the safety car will go back round once again here in Austria. Let's hope that this restart isn't going to cause as much carnage as the start of the race. So of course, ladies and gentlemen, we are now down to just the 10 drivers. We've got another 33 laps or so to go, and we are currently in wet conditions. Although every driver, bar Godzilla, is out on dry compound tyres, ranging from softs to mediums to hards. The race leader, Mr. Piggy, is on hards. Iron Batman is on softs. I wonder if there's going to be a bit of a change around the positions between the two Red Bulls. I think that would certainly make sense. It'd be interesting to see how warm Godzilla's tyres are getting. Warm for the rest. Oh, yeah, warm for the rest. I was doing so well. I'm guessing that's Shazam, is it? Or was that Beast? Yeah, no, certainly, yeah. Disappointing. Safety car is back in this lap, as confirmed by race control. And I just really want to see how quick Godzilla goes on these intermediate tyres, if he's made the right call. The track is wet, but is it overly wet? I don't know. It's almost at that in-between stage, but the rain is still coming down. Oh, Jar Jar Bing is warm for the rest. Right, okay. Yeah, I mean, you're up to 4th for Jar Jar, so you're still doing well. And you can still certainly progress from that position. I wish you the best of luck for the rest of the race. He's right behind Speedy Bullet now then, so PRV Widget and 50 Gent. PRV Widget then losing a position. Pops Kong going up to 6th, 50 Gent up to 5th. Speedy Bullet battling out hard here with Jar Jar Bing. And there is contact between the pair. Thankfully, though, no damage caused, which is always good. 50 Gent has now also gone round Speedy Bullet. At least he'll have the inside line here. And will he just about retain the position? He does. Of course, 50 Gent, though, is on the much faster compound soft tyre. I'm surprised Sainsy didn't go onto the soft tyre. Perhaps he's going to run medium and then 2 softs maybe. Unless he does medium to soft, of course, in the wet conditions, he shouldn't overheat as fast. It shouldn't heat up as fast anyway. But of course, they will be sliding around a little bit more, which can cause a little bit more degradation to those Pirelli tyres. So Mr. Piggy setting the fastest lap of the race, then closely followed by 50 Gent. Straight away afterwards, 50 Gent at the moment is certainly staking a claim to potentially go top of the championship today. Have to pull a few points clear of Sainsy 93. Mr. Piggy, of course, is in 3rd place in the championship as things stand. Jar Jar Bing having a pretty decent race so far then. He's still in 3rd place and running on hard compound tyres. Mr. Piggy's certainly a contender to move up to Tier 2. He's very accomplished at defending, that's for sure. And, he seems very cool, calm and collective when he's leading the way in Grand Prix, and it's very much the same here today. Let's go down. Oh, yellow flag's down in Sector 2. I think it is 50 Gent who is off track. There's a spin. And all that hard work that he's put into play is now for absolutely nothing. He is now down in P10. Thankfully, no safety car is needed for that one. And it doesn't look as if 50 Gent's got any damage either. And so Pops Kong now up to 5th place. He'll be really, really happy with his performance so far, but Late Bloomer is right behind him. There's Pops Kong, the last remaining AlphaTauri left in the grid following UFRL Beast's accident on turn 1. Sainsy 93 setting the new fastest lap of the race then on a decent set of mediums. He'll be looking to work his way through the track now. Oh, he's gone right into the back of Widget though. Let's hope that hasn't caused him any front wing damage. I don't think it has. DRS is now available to the drivers. Surely it's too wet for that, isn't it? Surely. I don't know what anyone else thinks, but is this a bit of a game glitch here? I mean, it looks sodden out there. But the drivers are seemingly able to control it. That's just bizarre. Very, very bizarre. And of course, as I was saying to you earlier, Popscon doesn't have DRS available to him. Interesting to see how he is able to defend. Jar Jar Bing goes very, very wide there. And Speedy Bullet makes the most of that and moves up into P3. Good drive so far, Speedy Bullet. Iron Batman now 2.7 seconds behind Mr. Piggy. And of course, Iron Batman is on the soft compound tyre as well compared to Mr. Piggy's hards. Looks as if Mr. Piggy could well and truly cruise to victory here. Sainsy having to pit here for another front wing. And he's going to come back out on the set of hards. He's not had his best race today. I think he'll be hoping for another safety car here. Jar Jar Bing now looking to make the manoeuvre on Speedy Bullet. He's got the DRS available to him. And quite comfortably does go up into P3 here. But Speedy Bullet, though, trying to get back through on the inside line. He does have the inside line, but I think Jar Jar should be able to retain that position. And yes, he does. It's good work from the Alfa Romeo driver, but Speedy Bullet looking as if he is potentially going to try and make another manoeuvre. They will have DRS available to him once again shortly, which seems really odd in wet conditions. It's yellow flags out in Sector 3. I think it may have been for PRV Widget in the Ferrari. Mr. Piggy, new fastest lap of the race at 1:13.2. Whether or not it's starting to dry out a little bit further, who knows? As I said, DRS is still available, and Speedy Bullet will now make the most of that, but Jar Jar does have a DRS available to him as well. He should be able to defend quite comfortably. With yellow flags down in Sector 1. It is the Ferrari. Oh, and Jar Jar goes straight into the back of Iron Batman. I would imagine he suffered some front wing damage there as well. Speedy Bullet makes the most of that and moves himself up into P3. Jar Jar was doing so well then, but very, very late braking really ruined not only his race, but Iron Batman's as well. Speedy Bullet, I should imagine his hard tyres are looking a little bit better now than Iron Batman's softs. Iron Batman 5.5 seconds now behind Mr. Piggy. As I said, Mr. Piggy definitely a contender for not only the championship, but to maybe move up into Tier 2 next season as well. Speedy Bullet, I think, will be able to get round the Red Bull here. He's going to have DRS available to him. He is looking a lot quicker than the Red Bull, and he is a lot quicker than the Red Bull. And Speedy Bullet manoeuvres his way up into P2. It's a fabulous, fabulous overtake from the Alpine driver. It now splits the two Red Bulls up. Can Speedy Bullet now put on a bit of an assault and try and catch up Mr. Piggy here? It's going to be a big ask, but he's certainly capable of doing it. Late Bloomer and Popscon battling hard here for P5 and P6 respectively. Jar Jar Bing is just ahead of them, as is Iron Batman. And, well, yeah, Popskong's DRS is definitely working. I wouldn't be surprised if he's somehow managed to switch it onto automatic. Or perhaps he just meant his ERS, because he certainly has plenty of that. I would imagine it's probably the ERS he means. Right, so looking at Godzilla then, I mean, the rain has certainly gone now. There is no rain coming down, especially in Sector 2 anyway. I think Godzilla's going to have to pit again fairly soon, otherwise he's going to fall by the wayside. I imagine a set of hards may see him to the end of this race if he looks after them well enough. Viva earlier said has to be into surely, but yeah, that's certainly all changed now. With there being no rain now out on track. It's been really, really strange. Virtual safety car then, and that will work out really, really well indeed for Godzilla, 50 Gen and PRV Widget, who will all dive into the pits now. I appreciate it's only a virtual, but of course all the cars will be slower. Surprise Widget coming in unless he's got front wing damage. He only had 8 laps on those mediums. I'm guessing he must have front wing damage, although there is no change to the front wing. And he is coming out now on a fresh set of hards. 26 laps to go. Can he push them to the end? I think it's certainly possible. And Godzilla hit a wall on the way in. Wonder if that caused damage. Yeah, quite potentially. It doesn't. Don't think he did have a. Drive-through penalty for Godzilla for speeding under the virtual safety car. He'll be really annoyed with that. I think it's the same for a few of these drivers, actually, just looking at the scenario. Yeah, so Widget as well. So Widget and Godzilla both got to serve drive-through penalties within the next 3 laps. And Jar Jar Bing has a 3-second time penalty. And Jar Jar Bing now diving into the pits. That's surprising, unless he does have front wing damage, which he may well do. And again, for some reason, I cannot switch onto any of these things. Bizarrely enough, I can't change camera view. Weird. Never mind. There we go, I can change again now. And Godzilla now coming in to serve his penalty. And Popskong is now under third. Oh, and Iron Batman has gone straight into the back of him there. That's not good at all from Iron Batman. Popskong will be really annoyed with that, I should imagine. Iron Batman's soft tyres are starting to get a little bit worn as well. He'll be annoyed with that, Popskong, I think. Something for the stewards to look at. Late Bloomer now up into third place. Speedy Bullets starting to hone in on Mr. Piggy. 3.8 seconds behind at the moment. Of course, we've still got plenty of this race left to go. There's certainly more drama to come, especially from the top 2, but Mr. Piggy just sets another new fastest lap of the race, the 109.754. That surely does show that this track is fast drying. Sainsy now up into P6, but he is 19 seconds behind Popskong, who is in 5th place at the moment and having a really strong race following a poor sprint race where he had a run-in, I believe, with Jar Jar. Sainsy setting the new fastest lap of the race, a 109.693 on a set of hards. So once again, the track clearly proving that it is massively starting to dry up. 50 Gent now, the new fastest lap of 108.915, but of course he is on the medium compound tyres. And Batman is 2.2 seconds ahead of Popskong at the moment. I imagine Popskong should be able to start reining him in fairly soon, so I should imagine Batman's tyres have really worn now, being 11 lap old softs. Popskong, of course, running on the hard compounder tyre. I'm pretty sure he'll be looking to run hard to medium. And looks as if Iron Batman is now diving into the pits, and does. And I'd imagine he'll come out on a fresh set of hards and potentially try and push it to the very end. Iron Batman, 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Not ideal at all for the Red Bull driver. Following a really good start to the race, which saw him rise up the positions up into P2. He's not had the very best of races since then. Iron Batman coming out on a fresh set of mediums. I'm guessing then he might run medium soft or medium. I can't imagine they would get him to the very end here. But I've seen stranger things. Jar Jar being now under P6. He's going to have a bit of a battle here coming up with I Am Batman. We'll stick with this battle for the time being. It's certainly the closest one out on track, with Popskong 6.5 seconds behind Late Bloomer in P3, and Speedy Bullet 3.3 seconds behind. We have yellow flags then in Sector 2. I think it is for Popskong. Yeah, it's a bit of a spin for the AlphaTauri driver. That will allow Sainsy to close the gap. We've also got yellow flags then in Sector 3. I think that is still for Popskong. That will allow Sainsy to close the gap on the AlphaTauri driver. But at least no damage was caused there. So Jar Jar has moved ahead, and yellow flags out in Sector 3 once again. Is that for Popskong? He's diving into the pits. He must have sustained some sort of front wing damage then, I'm guessing. Jar Jar Bing setting the new fastest lap of the race, and PRV Widget picking up a 3-second time penalty there for the Ferrari. And wouldn't it surprise me? You know what? I thought he was going to chuck on a set of intermediates. That really wouldn't surprise me. And a little bit laggy there, I think. But that can happen, of course. So I Am Batman 1.3 seconds now behind Jar Jar Bing. Jar Jar Bing is closer now to Sainsy. Sainsy 22 seconds off the top three at the moment. The top three consisting of Late Bloomer for the Aston Martin, Speedy Bullet for the Alpine, and Mr. Piggy for the Red Bull. So Popskong deciding to come out on a fresh set of mediums. 21 laps he'll have to do on them if he wants to see them to the end. I think he's going to have to in theory, unless he does a shorter run on these and then dives in for a set of softs at the end. That's probably the only other option. I Am Batman setting the new fastest lap of the race. It's a 107.797. Looking quick. The Red Bull driver starting to get back up the pace once again. He's going to be challenging Jar Jar Bing any second now. Of course, both drivers do have penalties to their names. 3 seconds for Jar Jar and 5 for I Am Batman. They're right behind Sainsy, who's running on hard 9-lap-old hard tyres. So they will, of course, be a little bit quicker, being on a softer compounder tyre than the Alpine. And of course, a much newer tyre as well. I Am Batman's being 2 laps old. Jar Jar's being 4, and Sainsy's being 9 laps old. But of course, the 3 drivers ahead of him, Late Bloomer on 14-lap-old hards, Speedy Bullet on 15, and 15 for the top 3 drivers. And as you can tell, they're the only 3 drivers that I think are yet to pit. Hence why they are top of the leaderboards. Let's just have a look. I'll try and remember how to actually get there now. Penalties, tyre stops, there we go. Yeah, so Sainsy's had 2 stops. Ooh, Jar Jar Bing and Sainsy battling it out here. Sainsy just about managing to retain the position there. But I think Jar Jar will have the DRS available to him down this straight, as will the Red Bull of I Am Batman. Will Sainsy be able to defend that position here? He's going to go down the outside. Jar Jar's down the inside. Jar Jar wisely deciding to back out, but then, of course, does happen to run into the Red Bull of I Am Batman there. Both of them with DRS available, and Sainsy will be really happy with that scenario, that's for sure. I think he was a bit of a sitting duck there. I Am Batman going down the inside of Jar Jar. I think Jar Jar just giving up that position, but in the meantime also picking up a 3-second time penalty. Just seemed a little bit harsh, considering he gave the position to Batman, I believe, due to the fact that he did kind of wipe him out a little bit there. So now I Am Batman will be on the pursuit of Sainsy, 93 just ahead of him. Jar Jar, though, is still very, very close behind I Am Batman and will have the DRS available to him down the pit lane straight. We are now 17 laps in. It is still Mr. Piggy leading the way by just over 3 seconds. Speedy Bullet doesn't seem to be able to make any sort of real inroads. Perhaps a little bit every other lap, but nothing major. Both running on quite old hard compound tyres now. Whether or not they're going to go for a hard soft strategy, or if they will just dive into the pits and chuck on a nice set of mediums, remains to be seen here in Austria. No more rain as things stand, which is always good. But of course the race start was very, very bizarre. We seemed to have quite a bit of a downpour. All cars started on a dry compounder tyre. It just looked too wet for that, but it did dry up by sort of around lap 9 to 10. And now the track is completely dry, although sure not overly warm. Speedy Bullet then still about 2.9 seconds behind. Iron Batman starting to make some real inroads on Sainsy here. And he does have DRS available to him, but I think Sainsy should be able to defend, and does. Closest battle out on track at the moment between these two, so we'll stick with, well, between these three, apologies. And the Alfa Romeo is right behind as well. Sainsy will be happy though that he's managed to hang on to the position a little bit longer. Jar Jar Bing diving down the outside. The Red Bull does retain the position though. I think Sainsy will be happy that these two are fighting out for P5 and P6 behind him as well. Iron Batman's going to have the inside line here. Sainsy does leave enough room. Iron Batman runs quite wide there. And Sainsy just about manages to get out of the way. Jar Jar Bing now. He's going to have the inside line going into this turn. Oh, and he's completely and utterly gone into the side of him there. It's almost as if he didn't want to brake. And he'll be disappointed with that, Jar Jar Bing. Because he was doing really, really well. He was having a solid race. Thankfully, though, no damage caused to Sainsy. I'm not sure whether or not there'll be damage caused to Jar Jar. Needs to be seen. We'll see if he dives into the pits now. No, he seems to be okay, which is good news. So Iron Batman now pulling about 1.7 seconds clear of Sainsy 93. Mr. Piggy and Speedy Bullet and Late Bloomer all still remaining out on those hard tyres. Who's going to make that early ditch into the pits? I do wonder if Speedy should maybe look at going on those mediums to perhaps do a bit of an undercut here. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Just while there's no real close battles going on, the closest one is Sainsy and Iron Batman, but Iron Batman is probably going to pull away, being on the faster compounder tyre. I will quickly run you through the latest football scorelines here. So in the Championship we have Cardiff City 1, Huddersfield 0, Middlesbrough 3, Norwich City 1, Watford 1, Swansea 1, QPR 1, West Brom 2, Manchester City 3, FC Copenhagen 1. Erling Haaland getting in on the goal scoring there. And Real Madrid 0, Red Bull Leipzig 0. From all accounts, Red Bull Leipzig have had the better chances in that one. So Real Madrid's position in the Champions League certainly under major threat as things stand. Because we didn't lose the juggernaut of Bayern Munich last night. They managed to sail through thanks to 2 goals from Harry Kane and 1 goal from Thomas Müller, which sees them through to the quarterfinals after a comfortable 3-0 win over Lazio at the Allianz Arena. The Speedy Bullet then 2.3 seconds now behind Mr. Piggy. Late Bloomer is the first of the front 3 to dive into the pits then. Imagine he's going to surely must be going for the mediums. Or is he going to take the risk and run softs to the end? We'll have to wait and see. No, he is going for the mediums. I think it's the right call if you're going to pit this early. I say early, he's just done 20 laps. He's done absolutely brilliantly, Late Bloomer, to manoeuvre his way up into P3. I think he will be behind Iron Batman and possibly Sainsy. I think he will be behind Sainsy. No, he's going to be in front of Sainsy coming out of the pit lane here. And of course we'll be on a much fresher set of tyres going into the final run-in of this Grand Prix. We're 21 laps in, we've got another 15 or so to go. And the Speedy Bullet is starting to make actually a few more inroads on Mr. Piggy. Mr. Piggy diving into the pits. Speedy is going to stay out. I'm not sure if that's going to be the right decision for Speedy. I wonder if he should have pitted with Mr. Piggy. He's going to have a really, really good lap now And I think Mr. Piggy, when he comes out, he'll obviously be on fresh mediums. The only other thing I can see happening here is Speedy is going to try and run as long as he can on the hards and then go for a last late push on the softs. Softs are certainly capable of doing 10 laps here, that's for sure. But he'd have to do another 4 laps on the hards. I think Mr. Piggy, though, would have pulled far enough clear to really maintain that lead. I appreciate could certainly catch Mr. Piggy for being on a fresh set of softs. I think it's an interesting call. I do wonder if Speedy Bullet were done with the pits now, because I think look at the screen, Mr. Piggy's already starting to make small initial inroads, and yeah, Speedy is going to come into the pits here. And again, I'll be guessing he'll be going on a medium compound tyre. We will stick with Speedy Bullet. Difficult pit lane, this one. It's quite hard to see the white line. I mean, I hate pit lanes anyway, personally. I'm forever picking up speeding in the pit lane penalties, or someone's going into the back of me because I brake too early. We'll go then to Mr. Piggy, who I think will quite comfortably come out ahead of Speedy. And I think the gap is going to be higher than the 2.3 seconds of previous. It is, it's 4.8, nearly 5 seconds. Yeah, I think it was the wrong call to stay out from Speedy there. He was only 2.3 seconds behind Mr. Piggy. He's now 5.5 seconds behind. Yeah, not ideal at all for the Alpine driver. But of course, either way, he's still having a really solid, sound race. So I would imagine Sainty's going to have to pit. I mean, he surely can't do 30 laps on the set of hards, can he? Surely. Just looking at other drivers that have to pit, I think 50 Gent will have to pit. I think Jar Jar will probably have to pit once again, unless they can pull out 25 laps on the set of mediums. Very, very hard pushed. Godzilla, he might be able to do it potentially. Pops Kong, again, I think he'll have to probably pit. We've got 12 laps, so 21 laps. It's going to be close. It'll be close. Obviously, the fuel load will be less for these drivers now. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Let's go to Late Bloomer, who's starting to make some real inroads on Iron Batman ahead of him. Of course, Late Bloomer is on a much newer set of tyres. Iron Batman on 11-lap-old mediums, Late Bloomer on 3-lap-old mediums. So expect the gap to close quite quickly, especially with the DRS available to the Aston Martin driver. Speedy Bullet is already making inroads on Mr. Piggy. It's now down to 4.4 seconds. It's just such a shame. I do feel as if he had pitted at the same time as Mr. Piggy at 2 seconds behind, I feel as if we could have been on for a really, really good end to the race. 4.2 seconds isn't a lot, and as I said, Speedy Bullet is gaining a little bit, but it's going to be tough. Speedy Bullet at 107.628, the new fastest lap of the race. Late Bloomer now just 6/10 behind the Red Bull of Iron Batman in the battle for P3 and the final step on the podium. But of course, Iron Batman does have a 5-second penalty to his name. Jar Jar Bing has 6, and PRV Widget also has 6. So Godzilla then is one of the drivers that came in and pitted for a set of softs. Yeah, I think he should be able to potentially do 10 to 11 laps on a set of softs, and he does go around Widget. Widget running on 14-lap-old hards. Speedy was making some inroads, but I think he's going to have enough. I'd be surprised. I don't know what anyone else thinks, but I would be surprised if Speedy was able to catch up Mr. Piggy. He would have to take a bit of a mistake from Mr. Piggy, and that doesn't happen too often, which is why he is P3 in the championship at the moment. Late Bloomer getting closer and closer behind Iron Batman. A 3-second time penalty for Late Bloomer, and he's got the DRS available to him, battery life available as well. Oh, I think I don't think he's going to have enough room there to make the move, but he has taken turn one very, very well indeed. DRS should be available to him once again. And it is, and he's going to go down the outside of the Red Bull here, up into turn 2, and Late Bloomer takes P3. Fantastic overtake from the Aston Martin driver. Sainsy 93 then deciding to come into the pits. Iron Batman battling hard here once again with Late Bloomer. He's got the inside line on the Aston Martin and retakes P3. It's a really good battle between these two drivers. They had a bit of a coming together in the sprint race. Will the same thing happen once again? 50 Gent in the meantime just cruising along behind them in 5th place. Mr. Piggy sends the new fastest lap of the race, a 107.590, but then Speedy Bullet with a 107.103. Speedy Bullet now just 3.5 seconds behind Mr. Piggy. Wow. So that gap is closing. 50 Gent is going to dive into the pits here. 16 lap old mediums, I can't say I blame him. He'll be throwing on a fresh set of softs, I would imagine. I wouldn't be surprised to see Iron Batman doing that as well. Late Bloomer is going to make another move here on the Red Bull. A bit of yo-yoing of positions between these two drivers at the moment. Late Bloomer now up into P3. Jar Jar being, of course, making the most of... Oh, and there is a coming together there between Late Bloomer and Iron Batman. Once again, these two are going to have a real fallout in the Discord, I feel. They've been racing really, really hard tonight. Not overly sure. At all times it's been overly fair between the pair of them. But again, something for the stewards to decide at a later point. At the moment, we're just enjoying the hard grafting and battling between the two drivers. But at the moment, still looking at the top end, it is still 3.4 seconds between Mr. Piggy and Speedy Bullet. Late Bloomer then has got a lot more raw pace from the looks of things over the Red Bull, and the Red Bull seemingly coming into the pits. Yeah, the Red Bull deciding to come into the pits, and I'm sure he'll be throwing on a fresh set of softs PRV widget, picking up a 3-second time penalty as well in the meantime. The Popscong at the moment still in P6, and it's going to stay out. I think he'll probably now finish on those mediums. He's going to push them to 21 laps. I think they're certainly capable of doing that. And in the meantime, Popscong will move up into P5, as well as Iron Batman is going on the softs, of course, and he also removes that 5-second penalty from his name as well. And Late Bloomer very much now in the clear for P3. And, only run on 7 lap old mediums, he'll certainly be able to finish. And I think he'll finish in P3 now, barring any mistakes. It's been a pretty decent drive from the Aston Martin driver. So Sainsy now up into P6. He's got Popscong just ahead of him. Of course, Sainsy is on fresh, soft tyres, so he should be able to get round him quite easily. 50 Gent not too far behind them. Popscong might be a little bit of a sitting duck here with all the cars behind him all moving on to soft tyres. Of course, he's on 14 lap old mediums. Still looking to defend at the moment though. Sainsy just waiting for it, biding his time here. And here we go. Sainsy 93 with able to draft the AlphaTauri, who moved over into the middle of the track to try and defend as best he could. But the Alpine's speed, DRS, ERS combined was just too much for the AlphaTauri driver, and Sainsy moves his way up into P5 and is now looking to close that gap on Jar Jar Bing. He's just 2.5 seconds behind the Alfa Romeo. But I don't think there's certainly enough time to manoeuvre his way onto the podium. Speedy Bullet, it's now under 3 seconds between him and Mr. Piggy. Are we going to see late drama? We could well see late drama. Just wish Speedy had pitted at the same time as Mr. Piggy. I think had he pitted at the same lap, I think we'd have been on for a really good race. In fact, you know what, I wouldn't have put it past Speedy to win. He's looked quick. But of course, as we all know, having watched Tier 3 numerous times, that Mr. Piggy can defend really, really well. Let's go down to 50 Gent then in his battle with Popscong. He's right behind him now, overtaken, DRS available to him. Popscong moves to the middle of the track to try and defend the line, but Nothing he could do there, unfortunately for the AlphaTauri driver. And 50 Gent now up into P6. Sainsy now all over the back of Jar Jar Bing. He will have DRS available to him on the next straight. He's just got to bide his time. Oh, he goes into the back of him. He's gone right into the back of him. I don't know. I would imagine he's probably suffered a little bit of front left wing damage there. I did see a little bit come off the car. I hope it's not too major. We've got 5 laps or so left to go here. In theory, he now just needs to keep 50 Gent at bay with the Jar Jar's penalty looming at the end of the race. It is 6 seconds worth of penalties. He hasn't really got to overtake him, but he has got to try and keep 50 Gent behind him. But yeah, he's definitely suffered some front wing damage here. I don't think he's going to be able to keep 50 Gent behind him. And then further back than that, he'll have a... Yeah, Sainsy deciding to come into the pits. He's definitely suffered front wing damage there. He'll be kicking himself there. He was certainly on for 4th place. I don't think that's going to happen now. I think it's too late in the day. Popscon then back up to 6th place. He'll be pleased with that. So Jar Jar Bing, it looks as if he's going to now have to deal with 50 Gent. 50 Gent will soon work his way into the DRS zone to take 4th place. I mean, with Jar Jar's penalty scenario at the moment, he is going to be dropping down to at least 6th place. And that's at least 6th place. Wouldn't be surprised to see Iron Batman catch Pops Kong being on the fresh soft tyres. He is 10 seconds behind him. But those softs can make a huge amount of difference on this track. Having said that, it's only been dropped down to 9.7. He'd have to gain about 3 seconds a lap to really stand any opportunity here. Jar Jar running on 20 lap old mediums. 50 Gent though does have to really bide his time if he wants to make the overtaking manoeuvre. Of course, at the moment he's at no real risk of losing out on the points because of Jar Jar's penalties. So anyhow, 50 Gent will be taking P4 as things stand anyway. He's just got to bide his time and be that little bit extra careful. And 50 Gent is up into P4. It's a smooth, comfortable overtaking manoeuvre from the Formula 1 veteran 50 Gent. And it's looking like it's going to be a really, really good day for the Aston Martin team, currently running in P3 and P4. With 1 foot on the podium, the other one just off of it. We've had a really, really solid race today, and 50 Gent at the moment we'll be quite pleased to see Sainsy down in P10 and having to pit again. I'm guessing they didn't change his front wing. Yeah, he won't be happy at all, Sainsy. P10 is going to be where he finishes today. He's 11.5 seconds behind PRV Widget. He's going to have to be going some to catch him up. Don't be surprised to see him take the fastest lap of the race though. Speedy Bullet still 2.2 seconds behind. I don't think we're going to see a late race for P1. It's just too much in it. But stranger things have happened. Let's go down to Jar Jar being 1.3 seconds behind. Pops Kong is starting to catch him now. Pops has just got to be patient. And remember, he's got 6 seconds worth of penalties up ahead of him. He's got to be a little bit more concerned with Iron Batman behind, who is 7.2 seconds behind him, but is running on 5 lap old soft tyres compared to Pops Kong's 19 lap old mediums. He's just got to be that little bit extra careful. Speedy Bullet, he has narrowed the gap. Ooh, we have a Ferrari off in Sector 1. Speedy Bullet has closed that gap to 2, it's back up to 2.1. It was down to 1.8, but it is now back up to 2.1. I think Widget moving out the way there for Late Bloomer. I think that was maybe. Yeah, Late Bloomer. I don't think Sainsy's too far ahead of Mr. Piggy in terms of overlapping. Oh no, I think he is. Yeah, no, I think he is. So now the gap is down to 1.8 seconds at the top. I don't think we're going to see much of a battle going on between them. Jar Jar Bing going off track there Foxconn keeping pace. He's about 1.2 seconds behind him. Is that he hasn't really got to get overly close to him. He's 6 seconds clear of Iron Batman. It should be just about enough as long as he doesn't make any errors. He should at least take P5 today. He's got to be careful though. 5.6 seconds behind. We've got a couple of laps left to go. It should just about be enough. It might be close, which will certainly please Viva, but he won't be pleased to see a Red Bull on the top of the podium. It's certainly looking like it's going to be that way. The Speedy Bullet has cut the lead down to 1.4 seconds. He just needs to get in that DRS zone. I really do feel that if Speedy had pitted at the same time as Mr. Piggy, he would have had every opportunity of winning this Grand Prix. He still might have. We might see a last lap showdown between the top two. It'd be really good if we do, but I still think at 1.3 seconds he needed to be in DRS range right about now, and that's not going to happen. Both of them pushing their cars to the very limits here. Speedy on 1 lap less old tyres. He's on 13, Piggy on 14, so there's not going to be a lot of difference between the two of them. Foxconn now just 5/10 behind Jar Jar. But yeah, don't think we're going to see much of a battle going on here. I think Mr. Piggy, he's just so cool, calm and collective, isn't he? It's like seeing another 50 gent out there. The pair of them, they are just so cool, calm and collective in these sort of scenarios. Real credit to the league and the Formula 1 game themselves. Both absolutely fantastic. We have got to give credit to this man though, Speedy Bullet. He's really put up a good fight, especially towards the back end. Just feel as if he just pitted that 1 lap too late. But it will be Mr. Piggy who crosses the line and takes P1 for the Red Bull. Speedy Bullet brings home the Alpine in P2, a really solid race from him. I think they could have had a really good race if it was another 3 or 4 laps. I think it would have been really, really interesting between the Red Bull and the Alpine. Late Bloomer will bring the car home for P3 for the Aston Martin team. 50 Gent should bring the car home in P4 for the Aston Martin team. Popskong has managed to get round Jar Jar Bing, and he should bring home the car for P5. He'll be really happy with that performance today, especially running on 22 lap old mediums. He'll be really, really pleased with that. Jar Jar will most likely drop down to P7 as well, given his penalties. Iron Batman will move up to P6. And, yeah, so we're just waiting now for Godzilla to cross the line to take P8, and then it's P9 for Sainsy and P10 for PRV Widget. Another good solid race for Tier 3. It was a bit of a disastrous start, but I think a lot of that was down to weather conditions, with all that rain lashing down on everyone and everyone having to start on dry compound tyres. But it's another successful day for the Red Bull team, and Mr. Piggy in particular. He was very cool, calm and collective throughout this Grand Prix. Started in P1, takes P1. A real fantastic performance from him. He'll be really, really pleased, as will his Red Bull teammates from Tier 3. Well, Iron Batman from Tier 3 and his teammates from Tier 2 and Tier 1. He'll be really, really pleased with that. Speedy Bullet will also be happy to bring home the car and bringing home some more points for the Alpine team in P2. And Late Bloom will be pleased to be rounding out the podium in P3. Some real good points today for the Aston Martin team, with Late Bloomer and 50 Gent taking P3 and P4 respectively. So that is the final run-in for the main Grand Prix. Mr. Piggy, Speedy Bullet, Late Bloomer, 50 Gent, Pops Kong, Iron Batman, Jar Jar Bing, Godzilla, Sainsy, PRV Widget, Shazam and Beast unable to finish the race. And that is your sprint race there. I won't have time to read it out, but the overall results then for the weekend, including race and sprint. Mr. Piggy won the sprint and the race. He collected a fantastic total of 33 points there. Speedy Bullet, third in the sprint. No, not third in the sprint. He wasn't third. That was just 3 points in the sprint. But yeah, anyway, that's how it looks over the sprint and the main race. Well, I hope you've all enjoyed this evening's Grand Prix here in Austria. I'd like to thank the UFRL team for allowing me to do the commentary this evening. I've been King Kong 1471. It's been a really fantastic race from your race winner, Mr. Piggy. Very well done to both him and the Red Bull team. I've been King Kong 1471. Thank you very much and good night.